Hey, what is up, everybody? We're back here for episode 8 of Grand Line Grinders. Another week of jamming some One Piece games, talking about it, and trying to help everybody get better and more prepared for the competitive level format and events. So I'm once again joined today by Steven, a good friend, It's Not Steven, and KebbieG as well. So how you doing, Steven? I know you're not as One Piece addicted as perhaps some of us are right now, but
It'll come back. I'm pretty good though. I'm pretty good. Been playing lots of different other games, but still having a good kind of update about what's been going on in the scene. Played a few games here and there, but mainly off stream. How about yourself, Kevin? How you doing?
I am doing great. We have quite a bit to talk about today. We have the new OP13 leaks for leaders. We also have the ban list predictions that we're going to be talking about, as well as some interesting news about EBO4. Also, all of them are going to be very interesting topics, I think. I'm going to save the EBO4 to last because I have something I really want to bring up that I think no one's talked about regarding it that I think might catch your attention and could be a huge change to One Piece. But let's dive straight into, of course, the normal, the changes in the meta. So Smoker has kind of just flopped this past week, and Buggy has kind of skyrocketed. But I think the caveat, of course, of what I heard earlier about DatHalfbreed is the sample size is much lower than normal. Yamato is only getting 570 games. So there's probably not a lot to talk about here just because of the lack of actual people playing ranked, which seems kind of weird. What do you guys think of, first of all, what is the actual issue that you guys maybe think that reason why people aren't playing as much ranked?
Well, first of all, that's still a pretty solid number of matches for week 1 because the rank
this is week 4.
I think is it really?
Yeah, it's week 3 or 4.
I'd have to check because Batsu normally puts one kind of his Twitter about what the player base has been like. But otherwise, I think it's because it's the same kind of decks over and over again at the moment.
Yeah, the top 2?
I mean, even like the top 10 hasn't really changed too much to the entire format, right?
Okay, true.
It's basically being like Smokers in and Oil Luffy's out. That's basically it. And I guess Yamato as well.
Yeah, Yamato is in and Oil Luffy is out. Smoker's always kind of been around the top 10.
It was not in the first week, but
yeah,
because it came up 2-3 weeks ago, and we were talking about it. I can't remember what else dropped out. Something else dropped out. So you think this is just because people are tired of facing these 1 and 2, and the meta is just kind of stale because of Bubble Betty and Blue Purple Luffy?
Yeah. Maybe it's playing OP12 a little bit. I don't know.
True. They could have migrated over to OP12 to test it.
No, OP12 doesn't have that high of a player count either right now, but it just seems like the people that are playing have kind of like all decided on a deck. I think the kind of unfortunate thing is that everybody thought the starter decks might have a little bit more of an impact on the format than they actually did. And it ends up being the only one that really matters is Buggy, with like Yamato kind of helping here and there. And I guess the biggest thing is that people have just like 100% decided the best Yamato list is just like all in on Wano. I think they're playing like 4 copies of Toneyasu now.
Yeah.
So they're just on all in Wano package plus leader swing a bunch. And so it's really just Yamato and Buggy, and everything else is kind of the same stuff we were dealing with before. And I think the biggest thing here is how many more games there is on Blue Purple Luffy than anything else. And people are just really starting to accept that, like, this is the best leader to be playing. It's the most powerful leader. It's the most straightforward, broken thing to be doing. And that's kind of like, we're going to talk about it a lot more. But I mean, this is the reason why I think I'm like 95 to 99% that Blue Purple is going to get banned.
Yeah, I mean, especially since even if you think about it, Buggy, Teach, and Bonnie, add the matches together, it probably is equal to or a little less than Blue Purple Luffy. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Bella Betty being very safely second highest played deck as well speaks volumes to how
how polarized it
And
is.
everyone seems to basically be playing Luffy or Bella Betty.
Yeah.
Then there's a few.
Either you play the slowest deck in existence or you play the fastest deck in existence, and there's not much left in the middle right now.
Mm-hmm. And even Grape Luffy isn't getting a good win rate right now.
That surprises me, but
Yeah, too much Betty, too much Zoro.
yeah.
I think Grape is like even worse against Betty than Blue Purple is, because Blue Purple at least has like Nine Mom and God's Thread and Blocker Katakuri or whatever. So you can like draw the game out a little bit, get some removal here and there. But Green Purple, it's like unless they draw Luna or they have Gamma Knife in their deck, there's just nothing they can do to stop from getting beat down by these giant like 8,000 or 9,000 power characters with the Bonnie or the Bello Betty leader effect. Sorry, I don't know why I mix up Bonnie and Betty all the time, but it's why I'm so hype about the ban list, which I feel like has to be the next thing that we like talk about a little bit, because to me, I mentioned it on stream a little bit where it was like, I am like 99% sure Blue Purple Luffy is going to get banned because it should get banned. And Gum Gum Giant is like 90% for me, but I could see them restricting it to 1. And
so we're going to be basing off this little section here. I found something from Spell Mana. So we're going to talk about some of the things that they brought up. And then we'll also do other little cards as well, because this is a nice starting point. So one of their main things they talked about, of course, is Gum Gum Giant. I do not think Gum Gum Giant is going to get a ban. It's kind of like the face of PRBO2. The all are and the other. So, I mean, for me, like, I don't think it's going to get the axe. But I know it's definitely up there, like, as in the possible, it should be banned.
yeah.
What do you guys
I think if they don't at least restrict it to 1, it's a huge mistake.
That's what I would want. If I was in control of it, I'd restrict Gum Gum Giant to a 1-of copy. Because normally the first one doesn't impact the game state too much. It's obviously still a very strong card to play. But it's whenever the second or third one comes out, if they're constantly leaving a Don up, you constantly have to play around this idea of, if I only swing, 8k or 9k into a 5k or 6k leader respectively, then I'm not actually getting much value, and I'm actually helping my opponent just cycle a hand. I think as a 1-of, I think it's absolutely fine. I wish it was banned, but I'm actually agree. I don't think it will get banned. I hope it's somewhere in the middle of it just gets restricted to a 1-of.
Actually, do we have any cards on the restricted list?
No, not right now. Okay. Every card that was on the restricted list either got removed or banned. So it was either unrestricted or banned eventually. And that's kind of where I'm thinking about too, where it's like maybe they restrict it for a while. And once we have other leaders that are on the same power level as like the Purple Luffys or whatever, maybe you can unrestrict it later. But it just leads to really stupid game states, and especially in like, it's just the worst card to play against in end games or whatever, right? Like if 2 players are at 0 life and, no blockers, then the person with Gum Gum Giant always beats the person without Gum Gum Giant. There is no like getting around that. And it just makes it very tough because it is so often the deciding card of a game. If you have it, you win. If you don't, you lose,
I could see that. I could see that being restricted as a 1-of. I mean, it probably makes sense, especially with the current design that they're going with going forward. It seems like they're printing a lot of cards that have 1 effect and a 3k for 1. It seems to be the norm anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it probably is not going to be that big of a hit if you restrict this to 1. And then you just fill the rest of your deck with a bunch of cards that have that same kind of bullet plating where it's 3,000 boost for 1. I mean, it's not going to be. It's basically going to make it pretty good still.
Yeah, especially like you said, a lot of the events that are +3 and have some other effect, they only buff your leader. So I think the fact that this protects leaders and characters just totally pushes it over the edge.
But I could see it being restricted, but I can't imagine them banning it before PRB02 comes. That's just me.
It would be awkward, that's for sure, if it gets banned even before Premium Booster 2 comes out in English, which is still quite a way
I actually
away.
want to buy the all art for this one. It's like one of the few that I would. So it looks cool. But
like, it makes a lot of sense. I presume this article may go into it earlier because if this doesn't get banned, my idea wasn't actually going to be the Katakuri. It was, I think,
yeah, so there's some interesting choices on here. So the other ones I have on here, they think Purple Katakuri could be a possible ban because it acts defensively and it also kind of does a duo effect where it is a very aggressive attacker and on defense, which makes sense. But
I think it's a strong card, but then it's just like directly nerfing Purple Katakuri for no reason. As in the leader.
Too much collateral damage if you ban this.
Yeah.
You hurt a bunch of decks that aren't even that good.
They generally have tried to stay away from that as much as possible. And I think ban the Katakuri would just have, like DatHalfbreed said, just way too much collateral damage on other decks that don't need it at all.
I mean, I think their point was that it mainly shows up in blue-purple.
No, but you just have to ban blue-purple. That's like,
I'm actually surprised
that's my big soapbox is like, there's no option of banning blue-purple or not. You like just have to ban it just because like it's bad for gameplay, it's bad for viewership, it's bad for tournaments. It's been all over Japan, all over America, all over the EU, and like the leader effect is just too strong. Having so much more information than your opponent just doesn't create for fair game states. It's like, to me, Blue Purple Luffy is the second most broken leader they've ever printed. Number 1 is Sakazuki. Number 2 is Blue Purple Luffy. Number 3 is Red Purple Law. So I just don't see how we live in a world where it doesn't get banned. But that's my like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why this article didn't bring up Blue Purple Luffy because I think this is more of just suggest nerfs and not to ban the leader.
I think they're trying to ban cards that hurt Blue Purple Luffy without banning it.
Yeah. But
the biggest problem for me is there's no ban of a card that you can do that would that Blue Purple Luffy cannot adapt to, right? Like if you ban Katakuri and even if you ban Lin, they'll just swap to playing the Don Quixote Doflamingo package, which already has been doing all right? Where they just play Sugar and the Atrop Doflamingo and Rosinante, and it even gains more cards in PRB2 with the like Don Quixote blocker and such. So it's just too flexible of a deck.
Now this one is a little bit more of an interesting discussion. What do you guys think about Sanji and Pudding? Does Grape Luffy need to be hit?
I think restricting or banning Gum Gum Giant is enough of a hit to Grape Luffy.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in the caveat, what if they don't touch Gum Gum Giant at all?
If they don't touch Gum Gum Giant at all and they do ban Blue Purple Luffy, then Grape Luffy is definitely the best deck in the format with how aggressive it is and low to the ground and like how much it stays alive in the late game with blockers and Gum Gum Giant and such. But if you ban Sanji Pudding, you might as well just ban the Grape Luffy leader. There is no Grape Luffy deck without Sanji Pudding, right?
100%.
Yeah, we'd have to like pivot to straight up Pudding, which is kind of weird and awkward. But doesn't
you can't
because it doesn't.
You have to have only Straw Hat Crew characters in play.
They would have to literally reprint a promo of this card, but just worse.
Yeah, it had to put the stuff in tapped.
I don't know what they would do. Maybe it's like make it a 5-cost 5k power and just call it a day.
Well,
if they got banned with this, yeah.
I think it would be rested. The Dawn would come in and play tap rested.
Maybe, yeah, but it's like
maybe.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, cool deck, right? I like the idea of the Grape deck of like constantly having less Dawn than your opponent and being a like.
Yeah, it kind of has.
The problem with Grape Luffy is it's supposed to be a glass cannon deck that has a million bricks, but it gets a lot of cheap characters into play fast and deals you a bunch of damage with the like Jet Gatling Luffy. But with Gum Gum Giant existing, it's not actually a glass cannon. It's just a cannon. So there's no fragility, right? So
for the most part, they brought up Cody Jones as a possible green, but then again, like I don't think Cody Jones actually seen much play in OP12 because of the demon right card.
Yeah, the event.
Yeah, the event is kind of taking over, which
Yeah.
actually I believe like it isn't like Gum Giant much worse than OP12, like on average to be able to win.
No.
No.
No,
No.
I mean, if you think about the best decks in format that we've just had a look at from the meta report, like how many of them are running Cody Jones? Like Bonnie, I guess, and then maybe Smoker, probably Smoker.
Bonnie Smoker. It's Bonnie Smoker and then plus Zoro when OP12 comes out. But like Blue Purple Luffy is still 20% of every tournament, and it's 2 to 4 of every top 16.
Yeah, I can't remember. Didn't someone in your chat actually bring up that like the fact that Blue Purple Luffy is not winning?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is true that
very
Blue
weird.
Purple Luffy has yet to win a championship in Japan. There's been like 10 championships, and Blue Purple Luffy hasn't won one yet. But it's still consistently the highest top 16 deck and the most played deck in the tournament.
I think the caveat to that would have been if most of the decks in the current format are developed and created in a way to beat Blue Purple Luffy and warping them, is that still? I mean, I don't think it matters that it wins. It's the fact that that's probably warping the other decks.
Well, I think
to deal with them.
If I answer the question, if Snake Man didn't exist, would Bello Betty be the most played deck in the format?
I think it still would be.
It would be a hard no.
I think it'd be in the lower 10s.
But if it is literally the second highest played deck in the format right now.
Yeah.
So like, the only reason Snake Man's not winning these decks, winning their tournaments consistently, is because the meta's kind of reacted to it and how many it's going to be, and we're playing a bunch of these decks that just straight up counter it, because you can't play a fun mid-range control deck right now because you just get spanked off the aggro, or you get spanked off the mega control that is Snake Man Luffy.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be in this discussion. I should take myself out of it, because that means I'll be advocating for the format that I wouldn't want, which is a Lucci format. So maybe I should take myself out of this discussion.
I
like this meta because of the fact that there's not really a lot of black Lucci decks running around. And
the thing to me that I feel like we have to take into account about this ban list is that like you have to do this ban list in a way that takes rotation into account. Because like rotation is going to come like 6 to 9 months after this ban list hits. Mm-hmm. So like affecting card leaders that are going to like get rotated a bunch doesn't seem worth it. And that's why it's like, my answer is always like rotation whenever anyone's like, oh, but what if we get a Lucci format again? It's like probably not going to happen just because there's a whole bunch of answers to Lucci now, right? Like you could just play Buggy, you could just play Sanji. Like Lucci does not have a way to kill Mr. Prince. They just don't, right? So the Mr. Prince Sanji. So there's like answers to the Lucci deck, but the problem with Blue Purple Luffy is it has a weakness, exactly one single weakness of killing them dead before they hit 10 Dan. Other than that, it's like wraps. And that just limits the format too much.
Yeah, it's probably, I think you're probably are on the right page. You're probably going to end up with this being restricted to one of, and then we're going to see the Blue Purple Luffy banned. Is most likely what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Which I think that should be pretty reasonable. I think it would make the meta a little bit better.
Yeah.
The only reason why I think Snake Man may not get banned, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think Dofi had a very similar play percentage of tournaments and didn't get banned, and they kind of randomly banned Jinbei. My only concern is
randomly.
Yeah, I mean, the deck has kind of died.
I think there was three. I think that the best three cards from Dofi, either one of them could have been banned. I think there's a very fair argument for Jinbei, Boa Blocker, and Bounce Law. I think one of those three cards were banned. I honestly think it was basically a random choice. And I would say something similar to Snake Man, where they might just ban, like, for no reason whatsoever, just ban, like, 9-cost Sanji or 9-cost Mom or whatever, instead of banning the leader. Again, I hope I'm wrong.
Again,
doesn't-
PRB02 would dictate no, probably because they're just printing Sanji.
Yeah, banning the Sanji would be tough with the premium booster reprint coming
Yeah.
up, especially because
But then again,
someone
banning
mentioned
Blue,
it in
Purple,
my
Luffy,
chat too.
Banning Blue Purple Luffy also would take a hit on Sanji and PRBO2 because it wasn't
In
seeing any
terms
play.
of the price of it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be desired at all.
Yeah, again, I'm not
even.
even saying I think that will happen. I'm just
Yeah.
saying this is what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
When we've had leaders and play rates of this amount, where they've went one of two ways. I have just flat out banned the leader, or they haven't, and they've like essentially just chosen one of the strong cards in the deck to ban instead.
The caveat would be, I think, is that I think maybe they got a lot of complaints about the tournament, watching Blue Purple Luffy and how boring it is to see them take 5-minute turns. Like that could have been the influence. Like hey, we're getting feedback that this tournament was not very well perceived and liked because of the fact that of the final round. Like that could also diverge them because I mean they want their tournaments to look good, so this game grows. And if people taking 5-minute turns, it's not going to look.
I think having Blue Purple Luffy mirrors at Worlds would be a very bad look. And
so I think that's probably why this has a difference between Dofi. I don't think people are really upset to watch Dofi work.
I do also think that Jinbei was the most broken card in Dofi because like there's no other card in the game that lets you get 2 5k bodies for 3 Dawn.
So the other caveat, so I guess we're talking about Jinbei. Would it actually been okay if they would have just restricted Jinbei?
Well, you got to think Jinbei was out for what 3-4 months before Dofi was even close to a tier 1 deck. Like Jinbei was not Jinbei was not the reason that Dofi became popular. It was a card long before the structure deck came out, and it was because of the structure deck. It was because of the bow and the law that got released that it became a tier 1 deck.
Yeah, that
Jinbei
was looked over.
Inherently, Jinbei was not the problem. The deck existed for a long time when Jinbei was a card. It was only when the Boa and Law. It was and it's something similar with Snake Man, where you could say Gum Gum Giant, Sanji, and
I just like I understand your argument. I just do think that Jinbei was the problem, but I agree with your assessment that like it wasn't a problem until it actually had enough. A high enough amount of characters to play off of the Jinbei for it to reasonably go off.
Sanji, though, isn't it? Like again, I don't think 9-drop Sanji really banned, but it's exactly the same situation. Sanji was not a problem until this deck came around. Jinbei was not a problem until the Star deck came around.
Yeah,
I can see a world where if Sanji wasn't getting reprinted, that it gets banned instead. But again, because I think
you're basically making the argument that they're trying to nerf the deck to keep the fans still around. Because Dofi made sense, right? Because Dofi, it didn't have a decent fan base. People loved blue Dofi. So they didn't want to just ban it, rip it out right from underneath the people that love Dofi. But hitting Jinbei was, I think, the correct choice because it proved, actually, it might have been proved that it was too good of a ban because it's kind of just died.
Yeah, it has went from tier 1 to like much worse.
It stuck around a decent amount of time until OP 10 came out, right?
Yeah. I guess it really got hurt because all the blue players swapped to Buggy. That was the biggest thing, it feels like.
But yeah, I'm 100% with you guys. I think and I hope Snake Man will just get banned. But I can see a world just based off what they've done previously where these other cards may get targeted first. And then who knows what's going to happen.
I think the other key reason I think it might be blue purple Luffy is because this is clearly an emergency ban, right? Because if normally they would probably wait until after Worlds or some sort of big tournament to make the conclusion to ban something. This sounds like it was in an emergency situation where they wanted to get rid of something immediately before the next big tournament, which is I think next month or 2 months from now. So they wanted something gone before that. So that I think that would lead to that they just don't like the play patterns of blue purple Luffy.
Yeah. I believe Nationals is like end of August, start of September, and then Worlds is like December.
Yeah, because normally they would probably wait for Gum Gum until after that tournament to say, okay, this is clearly a problem in this tournament. We're going to ban it. So this is something I think based off play patterns that they don't like.
I think you definitely have to ban one or the other, like Gum Gum Giant or Blue Purple Luffy. Like you have to hit one or the other. There's no way you can ignore both.
Otherwise, what's
If
the
you,
point of announcing a ban list if they're not going to hit the most played deck?
yeah, the most played, most winningest deck overall. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see a world where they like ban Gum Gum Giant and Nine Mom instead, and it's like losing Nine Mom sucks for some decks, but
Yeah,
not all of
Katakuri.
them. Like Purple Luffy wasn't even playing it anymore, and a lot of the Purple Katakuri decks don't even play Nine Mom.
Yeah.
So you could maybe hit that just to stop them from having the ability to gain a life with the deck, which is very unfortunate, right? And then you don't like lose any reprint value from Premium Booster, but it's not like Gum Gum Giant is an expensive card, so I think banning that makes the most sense because it's cheap.
I mean, to me, like, I hate when card games ban cards that look like on face value, they're not very good. They're not that good to warrant a ban. That's what I would think Linlin would look like. It would look like this. I would not say this card is ever in even the possibility of being on the ban list. And the fact that it would be, if it actually is, would just be mind-boggling to me. Because that's like the problem with Modern and Magic, right? They have tons of cards on the ban list that don't belong there. They're not powerful enough to be on the ban list.
No.
So
I mean, if you take a look at the cards that have banned that are kind of on that similar vein, like I do feel like Rygo kind of took a lot of people by a big surprise.
Yep.
So I could see this one. I could see this one. I could see this one. This one. I don't. Yeah. I wasn't around with Moby Dick, so I don't know. And Great Eruption.
They've definitely hit some surprise bans before. Where like Great Eruption was a ban that made sense, but it wasn't one that anyone really expected. And Kingdom Come as well was kind of out of nowhere.
Kingdom Come, Ennis Lobby, and even KebbieG. Like I understand the KebbieG ban because it created like a really toxic gameplay loop when there wasn't that much removal in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Personally, I think KebbieG would be absolutely fine. I wouldn't even be surprised if they unbanned it.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I do think Ennis Lobby still at the time felt a little strange. Just kind of in the moment. But
yeah, because they hit Ennis Lobby and they didn't hit Moria. That was the thing that was weird.
They hit Ennis Lobby before Ice Age, which was even the more peculiar thing. Like that was really, really surprising. So that they have made some kind of almost surprising ban lists in the past. I think there will be one or maybe it's even two cards that we're gonna say get put on this ban list that we were like, why or what? Where's that ban came from? And I was thinking, what if you had the gun to your head? What is a card where we haven't discussed or seen that you think could, in theory, get banned on the same vein of like Rygo and Lobby?
I feel like it would have to be something either from Green Purple or from Zorro. It's kind of weird to me because it's like I'd almost be tempted to think that like they could maybe hit like the Perona Searcher, which would be weird, but that card really has like completely warped green decks around it.
Yeah.
Something really random. The other one thing that I thought that might be really random if they don't want to ban Gum Gum Giant and they just restrict it, they could like ban the Going Merry stage, the purple one.
Yeah, that was someone brought that up before. Yeah, Going Merry.
That could be a decent shout if they wanted to hit Great Bluffing. Actually, I like that shout a lot. What would you feel about a Karasu ban?
I think Karasu ban would be really unfortunate because there's a bunch of decks that are already really good against Bello Betty, and those decks only get better if Gum Gum Giant gets banned, not worse.
I don't think Bello Betty is an issue.
I agree. Look, I agree. But when you think about that card in a vacuum is absolutely bonkers.
It is pretty good.
Yeah,
it is basically one of the best cards in the game. It is. It
has a very unique effect for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying this because I have that card literally coming in the mail either.
No, I'm
just kidding. I literally picked it up yesterday.
We're going to talk about it soon, but there's an OP13 Sabo that can play the Karasu, and I think taking it away from that deck would be sad.
Yeah, that's kind of why I started picking up Bello Betty, like I told DatHalfbreed, is because when I pivot to red-black Sabo, I went Karasu, maybe Limburg also makes the cut.
Well, my other would be probably just a Revolutionary Army HQ. I would maybe see if just ban the stage from the deck.
Yeah, because that hurts Bello Betty specifically, and it doesn't hurt the red-black deck at all.
Yeah, I think that would be my other shout.
guess I'm sure.
Otherwise,
It's funny. It's funny how stages are either like completely broken or utterly worthless, huh? There's so many
no
stages that are like up for potential ban or have been banned,
well,
just because there's so little way to interact with that, like
I think it's
extra
because,
value every turn, right?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to decide if where does the advantage come from, a one-time event versus a little permanent stage effect. What's the balance between the two? Make it
they
not
could
broken.
even cheaply ban full OLED. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But like they don't need to. Like I don't
That's
think
fair.
Blackbeard players should come after us or anything. But I could see a world where they ban that as well.
Great.
That is a really nice preemptive ban in terms of one of the decks that is kind of being held down by Purple Luffy that would get a lot stronger if Giant and Blue Purple got banned. Because then like all of the green mid-range decks in theory would come out of the woodwork, and then you'd have Teach there to prey on all the mid-range decks and Betty decks and whatever.
I mean, is that a bad thing?
So
I mean,
Blackbeard is a very,
all
very,
you probably
very
did was just anger the entire Teach community, and they're probably going to downvote this.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, Full Lead is a pretty good card. Like the games that you between when you don't have it and have it is just unbelievable.
Very different.
But it's still, I mean, I think it's just a good card. I think they're kind of printing something similar in other effects. Like Reishu has basically a Full Lead, doesn't it?
There's multiple different full of leads, but like it's just different in black where you have reanimation, right?
Yes.
True. Yeah. I mean, I guess your goal is to get things in the graveyard to reanimate them with.
To Kebbie's point, that is what the Reishu deck does. It's just.
You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. Yep.
I think why I'm kind of going off these stages a little bit. Revolution Army HQ, Full OLED, whatever it is. It's these cards that just kind of create less. I'm going to say less hype moments because most decks now are going for consistency rather than, like interactivity, if you know what I mean. Like they just want to. They want to do what their deck wants to do, and they don't care about what you're playing. It's like I will do what I want to do. I will play Betty. I will smash you in the face every single turn. I will play Luffy. I will ramp to 10 Dawn, and I will outvalue you. And then you're going to go Grape a little bit in the middle of I will hit you in the face a bunch, but I will just take a bunch of damage and end up with like a billion cards in my hand. And it's not like it's very much not reacting to what your opponent plays. It's if I pop off, I will win the game. If I do not pop off, I will probably lose the game. And these stages kind of help mitigate that by a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
and help these inconsistent decks become more.
They act in a way similar to how Magic, and you have your in your sideboard. You have cards that are good for grindy matchups. It's kind of what stages are great for, right? They're great for the grindiness. So, like, if that's kind of why for the most part, Bell Buddy was not playing the HQ, and they finally realized that hey, in order to compete against mid-rangey decks, go long decks, it's better to play HQ in your deck because it does give you that long term.
I can't remember what his name was, but the best Betty player that I'd heard of for a long time was from America, and he was always convinced that stage was like was like a mandatory card in the deck. So like I know what you're saying, but I always distinctly remember like hearing like it was probably more than 6 months ago now that the American Bella Betty player like lived and died by the stage card of like he always played it because he was like this is just so broken because it gets you to more of your tools quicker. But I know what you're saying. It does feel weird to be targeting these like one drop stages. It's because there's not a lot of cards in the meta that can help remove stage. There's not even that many cards in the card game itself that can remove stages. There's a few here and there, but they're so niche and they're so bad into every other matchup, they just don't really get played.
I almost seriously wonder if Bandai should consider removing stages from the game, just like period, because it's this really awkward like part of the board that there just hasn't been a good way to balance at all, right? Like I've said, stages are either completely useless or completely broken and deck defining. and it's really hard to feel a balance, especially with the complete lack of cards that interact with them. Like, they'd have to start templating more cards to allow you to, like, rather than KO a 2-cost character, you'd have to be like KO a 2-cost or less card. So you have a choice between KOing a character or a stage. But because there's this part of the board state that is so uninteractive, it just makes games feel very weird, and it's very hard to balance it. So it's kind of funny. I would totally understand if they banned any one or all of the 1-cost stages, and that's like HQ, Germa Kingdom, Marigo, a Fuliled. Like, they could just ban all of them, and I think it would be fine.
I think you do raise up a good point. They really should print more cards that actually destroy stages. That's just there's not that many of them. There should be more ways of interacting with stages.
Yeah.
So either
basically, they should have it that almost every card that can KO a character can also KO a stage of the same cost.
So black.
If they want to have stages that have powerful effects, they have to make interacting with the stages easier.
Yeah, because the only deck that ever played like Sky Slicer seriously was Blackbeard for the mirror and the trigger. That just says it all. Like, I wouldn't mind either. I will say I really quite liked some of the stages that have like this weird effect. You know, I'll say like Birdcage or the Arc Nova or even like what's the is it Sky Island? Is it just called Sky Island?
Yeah.
One where it's just like on play draw cards and then like you've got other cards that interact with your stage. I think that's kind of cool. But these ones that just kind of give constant value just every single turn, and they just feel a little too hard to balance. They just can't quite get right.
I would say even Usopp's stage is pretty
Colosseum, absolutely. It's
Upper Yard, by the way. Yeah, Upper Yard. Yeah. But I think you hit it perfectly on the nail of like.
So I think what you're saying is
that have other pieces of interactions are the ones that feel the best. Where it's like, I think the perfectly designed stage is actually Birdcage, where it's a card that's good sometimes, not good others. It'll stay in play, but not infinitely. It does get rid of itself somehow. And it creates a bunch of interesting points of interaction, where there's a lot of the other stages that are just saying, do one thing, just like one extra thing that you add to your checklist of things to do every turn. It doesn't feel good.
So it sounds like more like the problem that you guys have is they need to stop printing stages where they allow you to discard a card and look top 3, not searcher stages. So those are the problem, pretty much.
Yeah, the repeated activation stages are just a problem in general, right? Like Upper Yard that just has an on play and then has other interactions with cards is fine. But
except for
I guess if there was any card that they might look at outside of Gum Gum Giant and Blue Purple Luffy, I think it would be a stage that seems most likely to me.
So let's go ahead and switch gears. We're about 40 minutes into the podcast. So we'll go ahead and let's talk about the leaks.